Now, whether you're one of my fellow badass woodworkers or just a viewer or subscriber, first of all, thank you. Second, I'm Daniel with Bearded Viking Woodworks, if you didn't know. This is going to be a very special video. Too many times and too often, I find myself stuck. What do I mean when I say stuck? Well, stuck staring at a piece of wood for an hour, or stuck rummaging through my scrap wood pile looking for inspiration, or stuck searching through YouTube trying to find a video for inspiration, or just stuck with a mental block, or as doctors call it, aphantasia. From experience, it's not that easy trying to find inspirational woodworking videos on YouTube. Well, I have hopes to change that. Today, my mission is to share with you some of my favorite woodworking projects in hopes that it will inspire you today and tomorrow. I'm going to start by sharing some projects that I have here in the shop, made right here in Bearded Viking Woodwork Shop, starting with this charcuterie board. This is made from a slab of curly Claro walnut. This particular charcuterie board is 9.5 inches wide, and the total overall length is 24 inches, and the handle is about 9 inches long. It's literally just one piece of wood, and I just took and drew out a handle for it and kind of gave it a little detail on there, kind of giving it the looks of a butcher knife. Once I had my handle traced out and all the details traced out on it, I took my battery-powered DeWalt jigsaw and cut it out by hand. It's super easy. Then I drilled this 1-inch hole on my drill press with the Forstner bit. To top it off, I took it to the router table and put a chamfer along each edge of this. And what's really cool about it is this live edge right here. This took me about 10 minutes to make. Take this into consideration for warming up for the day in the shop. This next project is beginner friendly. There is no intricate joinery on this piece whatsoever. It's literally 2 pieces of wingay that have 2 pieces of curly maple glued to the sides of them. And the lid is just a piece of 3/4 bubinga that I dadoed out to set right inside the top of this box. The lid handle does get a little tricky. I just took some pieces of wingay, and they were longer pieces. They were about 10 inches long, and I took them to my table saw and cut out this little dado to carry this piece of aluminum. So that's how I got these. And this box is, let's see, the wingay is 4 inches in length and 4 inches in width, and the thickness is 2 inches. The maple sides are 9.25 inches long, 4 inches tall, the same as the wingay, and the lid is 8.75 by 4.75, and then you can just fit your lid how you want to into this piece. The bottom of the box is just a simple piece of 1/4 inch MDF. On the interior, I put some flocking. The only downside to using flocking fibers is the cost. It gets super pricey, but I have a solution for you. Let me show you. So this flocking fiber comes with a kit, and the adhesive for it is outrageously expensive. But I did a little research a while back and found a great solution that is a huge cost saver. That is this: a simple can of spray paint. Make sure to get the same color paint as your flocking. In this case, I use black. Be sure to shake your can well and apply your coat of spray paint. You want to make sure to apply this coat extra heavy. In some cases, you may want to do one coat, let it dry, and then do a next coat. However, I'm just going to do one heavy coat. Then just spread your flocking across your piece. Once you have the entire surface covered, give it 10 minutes to dry. Then you want to take and knock off the excess flocking. Make sure to save this for later. But look at these results. This thing was so simple to make, but so fun. And this is inspired by Klaus83. This guy is crazy good. But this is one of his easier projects. And I hope this one draws some inspiration out of you, because it sure did with me. Hey, wake up. You alright? If you made it this far in the video, leave me a comment in the comment section. I've been thinking of coming up with a mini-series where I put out a video once a week on this topic of inspiring woodworking projects. If that's something you're interested in, help me come up with a name for the mini-series. I'm thinking something like Seeking Sawdust or Making Sawdust. I don't know, I'm a dork. So y'all help me out in the comments. Let me know what y'all think it should be called. Another great project to get those wheels turning is this cookbook stand for the kitchen. This particular one I made out of a piece of walnut, and I sawed it in half and then glued the two pieces together, making a book match. It has contrasting oak, which I just absolutely love the combination of oak and walnut, two of the best types of wood to be combined. The overall width of the cookbook stand is 9.5 inches, and the length is at 12.5 inches. From the top down, we've got 1.5 inches where the inlay starts, and the inlay piece itself is 1/2 inches thick. So just pull down 1.5 inches and then just take this piece over to your table saw and then just dado out this little groove for your inlay. The actual holder itself is a piece of oak, and this one I made at 1.5 inches wide. However, I recommend doing at least 2 inches wide, for some cookbooks come bigger than 1.5 inches, which I didn't really realize at the time. However, this will do. And then it's just a 45 miter joint right here. And then you just brad nail it together, put a little wood glue in there to help hold it. It's got a 30-degree bevel cut on the back here, and it's brad nailed to the walnut, and that way it sets at the perfect angle on the counter when you're reading your cookbook. And the upside to this is, check out what I saw online where they marked the price for this. This is nuts. This one isn't exactly like that one as far as the thickness. However, it's a pretty good replica. So if they're charging $150 for that thing, I mean, $80. Come on, let me get that. 80 bucks, we're in the game. This project is definitely a good wheel turning project for your mentals. But if you're not making a shit ton of these, you're missing out. I know. Pallet wood projects, come on. Everyone's doing pallet wood. Well, let me tell you why everyone is doing pallet wood projects. Because most pallets are free. That's why. You don't have to have one of those fancy pallet removers. You could do it the old school way with the hammer and the nail puller, just like I do. But you can definitely make some profit while making cool projects. The fact that it is the holiday season right now, these rustic Christmas trees are flying off the shelf. This is made with pallet wood, and it's made out of probably the top half of the pallet. The only thing on this project that is not pallet is the 2x4 on the back. This particular tree is 4 foot tall. I had to play around and find out what the right angles were. What wound up being the perfect angle for the center is a 50-degree angle, and then a 30-degree angle on all of your tree tips. Start your pieces cutting long point to long point 7 inches, and all you do is step up 1 inch at a time. So you go from 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. I cut all the way up to 17 inches, and that was my last branch right here. Take your 2x4, cut a 50-degree angle on each side of it that meets right at the peak. And then mark the center of your 2x4. And that is where you'll put your 50-degree angles together, right at that center mark. After nailing on your 17-inch pieces, all you have to do at that point is take the short point of your 50 to the short point of your 30 of that piece and measure that distance. It will become the long point to long point of your next piece. Do that until you fill in the bottom. The only thing left to do for this tree is add some feet. Take some 3/4 inch plywood and rip it down to 3 inches. Or you can use some leftover pallet wood. Cut them at 8 inches in length, and then just nail them to the very bottom of your 2x4 in this crisscross pattern here. And you'll have yourself a perfect rustic Christmas tree. Next up, we have this awesome rustic coffee table I built from a single pallet. It's got acacia wood that has crazy beautiful grain and figure throughout every piece of it. But for some, dismantling a pallet can be a straight pain in the ass. But for me, something about dismantling these pallets is therapeutic. So anytime I can get my hands on a free pallet, I take up the offer quick and look forward to milling the material to expose the hidden beauty beneath and create something spectacular. This coffee table is 42 inches in length and 18 inches in width. The height is 16 inches. The table legs are from Amazon and cost around $38, and I'll leave a link in the description below. It's easy to build and nice to look at. There is just something rewarding when putting in the extra work to dismantle a pallet and then create something beautiful with it. My wife refuses to let me sell this piece, so it's going to my daughter's apartment for Christmas. If I were to sell it, I've sold pallet tables in the past, coffee tables like this, for around $400 to $800 depending on the size and the time and the legs that I put on it. This particular one I would probably sell for a range of $400. I'd take $350 for it, and I would be happy with that price for the amount of work I put into this. Although that does it for this video, I plan on putting out much more content and going forward with this series about woodworking inspiration. Thank you guys for joining me, and if you've made it this far in the video, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. This is Bearded Viking Woodworks, and I have been Daniel. Thanks for joining me, guys. Until next time, make some sawdust.